Hi everyone, thank you for watching. For this tutorial, we're going to be getting this pink sugar skull diamond look. So I ordered these kind of diamond looking decals off of Amazon. They're so cute. I'm going to be doing a mix of those two and also using this palette that I got for $10 off of Amazon. Will be the main things I'm going to be using today. So to get started, I just lightly spray my face with some thermal water. And then I use this L'Oreal liquid liner. And the first thing I'm going to do is trace out the socket of the skull. So I pretty much just go over the brow and under the eye. If you kind of slightly lift your face up, you can kind of see where the hollows of your eye naturally sit. So I do recommend kind of following your own natural shape. Next, you want to trace out the nose. I looked at different pictures online, and pretty much you're doing like a U shape at the top of the nose and coloring in pretty much all of the bottom half of your nose black. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of tracing out the shape. And then one thing I do like to do is kind of where you would contour is bring one black line down on each side. And then where my teeth are going to be, I'm going to make two lines connecting to the outsides of my mouth. So that's going to just be the base. And I kind of just feel for where my natural teeth end is how long I'm making the line. You probably, on that contour line, you probably don't want to bring it as low as I did. I ended up at the end of this look not needing that line there. So you can feel free to not drag it down so low. It shouldn't be connecting with the mouth line. But I made it work. I blended it in. So now we're using white face paint. And so far, what's worked for me to get a really good color payoff is dipping into the paint or the cream with a beauty blender and just really circling that, blending that onto the lid to press that pigment in, and then using very pressed motions in small sections. I'm trying to not go over the section that has already been laid down multiple times, because when I would do that, it would lift the paint. So I'm doing really small pigmented sections, and the beauty blender kind of just self blends. So doing that, I don't have to keep going over the same spots over and over again to get a very nice color payoff. I'm going to cover the lips, and I'm going to go under the cheekbone, just continuing to use patting motions. I'm going to dip into some more paint and pressing it into the lid. I'm going to go above the cheekbone, around to the temple, over the cheeks, and over the top lip. I'm going to go in with some more paint and do the same thing on the other side, over the cheekbone. I'm just touching up a few areas. I'm going slightly on the bridge of the nose. And taking more paint, we're going to do the forehead. Just keep pressing the product in. And I did slightly go over some of those lines that I made underneath. Those are just kind of like some guidelines. So the fact that they get slightly covered for me doesn't really matter, because I'll be reinforcing those when I need it. So the next thing I want to do is, if you're going for a black and white skull, you can skip this part. Maybe you can take like a gray shadow and do some shading in the places that I'm going to be using a hot pink. But I want to add some vibrancy, a pop of color to this look. So my vision is a pretty vibrant pink skull with the diamonds and some black shading, and I'll also be using some purple tones. So I'm using this Kat Von D brush. It has a bit of an angle to it. It's really good. I normally use this for contouring, so it's just working out perfectly for contouring with this pink shade. So I'm just bringing it slightly higher than I would a normal contour because I want that to peek through. So it's more of like a hot pink blush, and then going over the forehead. We just want a lot of vibrancy in this area. So I'm just repeating the same thing. I'm just dipping into some bright pink shadow from my makeup palette and blending that over the cheekbones and over the forehead. That is the color that I'm using. Next, I'm going to be using all of these colors through the course of this look. But I want to start reinforcing the areas that I would normally use black. So like I said, if you were just going for a plain skull, you would have skipped that pink part, and now you could go ahead and follow along. Taking black shadow, we're going to go underneath the line that we created, and we're going to do pretty much a very severe contour here is the goal of this. Anywhere you normally would, we're going to add that pigment. And I'm keeping it close to the line, maybe about halfway down to my ear, but above my lip, because I'm going to be shading that in with purples. So I don't want to go too crazy with the black. So here I dipped into a almost a purpley black shade. So I just want to give this a bit of an ombre effect of going from dark to light and just have some depth to the color and the light. So I'm just layering over top of the black with that color. Next, I'm going to take this lighter purple, and we're just going to layer again and again with those two lighter shades just to kind of transition it to the white paint. I did notice I kind of wanted to touch up the pink a little bit before moving on. Alright, so now I'm just testing out a few different shades to see which route I want to go with for this look. I ended up moving on to using the two light pink shimmer shades in the palette to highlight my cheekbones. You can see it more on one side because the light is hitting it, but I'm going to highlight everywhere I normally would with a pink glitter. So I'm doing the forehead, the bridge of the nose, and the tops of the cheekbones. And I'm just re-blending just so there's no harsh lines. And then I decided I want to carry that shimmery shade over top of the white paint just for a seamless look. And I'm also putting that pink shimmer under the cheekbones. And over the chin. And I'm going to go over the lip. I'm going to leave my lips alone. So it's a very light pink shimmer, so it's just giving a very subtle sheen in the areas that the white paint was left. Alright, so now I'm going to be focusing on filling in the eye socket. I'm going to base everything out just for the sake of ease with this black paint, so I don't use up my eyeliner pencil or liquid pen. So I'm going to just go around the perimeters of the eye and try to get it as smooth as possible. So this will take a few minutes to do both eyes, but I'm just going to do a big circle, leaving my eyelids free though. The eyelids I'm going to fill in with shadows, so I'm just going around the socket area, and I will have time to blend this out when I add shadow over top, so just trying to do a decent job, but it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. And when you're doing the brows, you kind of want to work it in between those brow hairs, because the second that brow hair moves, you'll see peach like your skin tone. So just make sure you work that product between your brows. And if you have any gaps that are still showing later on, I'm going to fill in between the brows with black liner. So don't have to be too overly concerned with that. So yeah, I am just repeating this on the other side. And then here I am just touching up the brow. I kind of noticed it was peeking through there for me, so I'm just adding a little bit. And at this point I am working with eyeshadow. So I am using a small fluffy brush, dipping it pretty heavy-handed into black shadow, and I'm kind of doing circular motions to blend the cream and the powder together, to try to create a seamless look, and then I kind of finalize it by tapping, doing like a press tapping motion to just do the final set. So anywhere I laid that cream down, I'm doing a little circular motion to blend, and then I'll tap on top. Okay, so now that I feel like I've set the eye area pretty well, I'm taking the darkest purple shade, and this whole area needs to be pretty dark and black, so I do want it to have, if the light were to hit it, some purple tones going through. So I would say over the crease and under the eye, I'm just blending dark purple to just give it a bit of an effect when I close the eye, but it's going to be pretty much a purpley black tone. And then I will be taking the purple mixed with straight black shadow onto the lid, just because you really want the area closest to, you know, your lashes to be extremely dark. So it's going to take a few times to get it to the level of darkness I'm going to want. So I'm just starting with the first layer of shadow, and I'm just going to keep blending until it's nice and dark. Now we're going to take that same shadow and run it under the line, and pretty much as close to the lash line as I can get it. I'm literally just trying to get it as the whole area as dark as possible. And now we're going to repeat on the other side. This was such a fun look to recreate. Can't wait to get to the crystal parts, because that's where the whole look kind of comes to life. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep blending and blending and blending, because this is the focal point of your face. So unless you're going for a messy look, which I'm not, I really want my colors to be very pigmented. So I'm taking my time personally to get my shades to be pigmented and smooth. So now I'm kind of just digging around to find my eyeliner, find my mascara. That's going to be where we move to next. So using my liquid liner, I am edging out the final shape of the eye socket, because at this point, between adding the white paint and the black paint and the shadows, it has lost some of its crispness. So we want to bring some of that back. So I'm just detailing. And I find that with this part, the longer the stroke without having to break is going to give me the smoothest, most seamless effect. So I think I try to do a total of 2 or 3 lines all the way around. It's just every time you stop to lift the liquid liner, you're going to get a bit of a mark. So I try to avoid lifting that liner to create a smooth line. And then now I'm just blending into the eyebrow hair, a little bit into the shadow, just because this is a slightly different pigment, so I just want to make sure that the line just kind of blends to the rest of the eye, and then just reinforcing some of those areas with more black shadow. Honestly, the more layers of this you can do, eventually it just get to the right pigmented shade of black for me, so you'll kind of just see me casually just reapplying more to this eye look as we go. So now we want to start forming the teeth. Once again, you kind of want to use your own set of teeth as a guideline. So I'm just starting in the middle of the mouth, in the middle of my lip, and I'm drawing one skinny line from the inner part of my lip past my Cupid's bow, and then for the middle line, I'm going from the inner part of my lip and going past my lip line. And I'm kind of repeating that as I go on each side. I'm just creating a space that's relatively close to a tooth. Some of my spaces get a little bit bigger, but just in general sense, if you get lost, you could kind of just see where your teeth start and stop. The other thing I like to do is I don't make perfect lines. So I actually do, I guess you could think of it like a little tree branch, or I don't know, like a little peace sign at the end, but I do a straight line, and at the end I do 2 little squiggly lines to recreate the root of the tooth, kind of. Yeah, that's going to be this is the base of the mouth part. So I keep going literally until I can kind of feel maybe close to my wisdom teeth, or not exactly all the way, but just in a general sense, that if that helps you see how far back you should go. I don't think I went all the way back, but pretty close to it. So here I'm just reinforcing some of the lines I just did. And you do want to do the tiniest line in the inner part of your mouth. Just try to be careful with that, though. You don't want to mess up everything you just did. I literally just do the tiniest line in between. Alright, so at this point, I just got some more black purple shadow, and I'm just kind of blending a little bit more that contour area into what I just did. Just kind of removing any weird harsh lines that might be there. And then I wanted to shade above and below for the gum line. So I'm going to take the excess powder, almost so it's like very faint, like residue of what I just did, and you're going to trace underneath the teeth, so almost where your gum line would be. We want to start recreating that shading, and then we're going to do the same thing on the top. So I'm starting at the top of my on the top part of my lip and going straight across. Kind of like a mustache, but just going straight across. And then you want to blend out any harsh edges in that area. So now I want to bring some life back to the teeth. This skull has some pearly whites, so I'm dipping into a vanilla shade with a flat square brush. And I'm gonna pretty much pat that exactly where the spaces in between each line are. This is also gonna just kind of give the teeth a more uniform look because I'm pretty much just stamping this square brush in between perfectly, and then just blending out the edges into the gray shadow and above and below. So this is just going to bring those teeth, make them pop a little. And it's gonna help hide my lips a bit too. So there you have it. Now, to finish it off, you just kind of want to go back over, your lines with the liner. And here I'm just deciding to add that pink contour shade, or whatever you, blush, bronzer, whatever you want to call that. But I'm going to place that under the cheekbones there. I just want to make sure that that pink is really popping through. So I just decided I want to bring that in that area, but not going too close to the chin, keeping the chin light color. All right, so now we're going back to finishing the mouth. So for here, I'm doing more straighter, crisp lines. I'm leaving the part that I made the little squiggle at the end as is because I kind of wanted to have that blurred, kind of lived in look. So I don't really want to re-emphasize those areas. So I'm just re-emphasizing the straight part, and then it'll give it a nice fade and blended look. Now that I'm done with the mouth, I'm just gonna fill in the nose with, I'm using the eyeliner because my nose makeup seems to rub off quickly, so I want to make sure that I'm using something that has some staying power. So yep, we're just gonna fill in the whole nose, and then we will tap over it with black shadow. Okay, so that's pretty much done. I did make a little mistake, and I took a plain white eyeliner pencil, and it's actually really good to edit any lines. It's almost like an eraser. So here I am just setting the nose with black powder. And then for the tips, like the pointed parts, I'm switching to a flat brush, a flat liner brush with black paint, just to make sure I don't blur outside of the lines. So another detail I want to add to this look is some cracks throughout the skull. So I'm just doing a couple of squiggly lines to the side of my eye and onto the forehead. They're just like little lightning bolts or tree branches, whatever. And then on the brow on one side, I'm just doing two little lines. So we're not a perfect skull here. Got some wear. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to add crystals. this base makeup is complete. So if you just wanted it to be black and white or just stop at this point, you could move on to your just filling your ears and neck with black paint. But we want a little more drama here. So I'm using 2 sheets that I got off of Amazon, and I've never tried these before, so we're just giving it a go. So I'm just picking the forehead piece and just finding a general placement that looks good. I'm actually very shocked how well that just stuck to the makeup. It's not falling off. However, if you're doing a whole night out, I think I would get some clear lash glue and maybe do a few points underneath the application and press that on for extra hold. But pretty surprised at how well this is holding on its own. So now there's these rounded pieces that go around the eye, and I love how everything is just broken up into sections because you can really customize this look. So here are my diamond, I don't know, kind of like diamond eyebrows. And now I'm going to open the other packet that has more, I don't know, floral decals. So I feel like this really makes it feel like a sugar skull because there's that really pretty floral detailing around the sockets of the eyes, and I'm kind of just doing my own thing. I'm turning it into a basic skull and just seeing where I go with it. So I'm kind of taking some inspiration from Day of the Dead, sugar skulls. So I'm taking these kind of floral bursts or petals, and I just feel like that would look good underneath the eye sockets, and I have enough to play with, so I'm doing about 3 on each side to fill in that space. And then the same thing on the other side. See, that little piece fell off, so you might want to some of the smaller edges are kind of peeling off, so you definitely probably want to use some clear eyelash glue if you're gonna really wear this out for a whole night. Alright, so now I have a couple more of these little floral pieces. I'm just kind of figuring out where I want that to be. And what else I could do. So I really like these pieces for the mouth. That looks really cool to me. So I'm just figuring out where I want the placement to be. I think I want it to start closer to the last tooth. So I'm going to go slightly to where the last tooth is. Yeah, I just want to make sure it has a flattering kind of slumming effect, if I can. So we're going to repeat that on the other side. I love these decals. This is so cool. I was so excited when I got these. Alright, so now I want something on my chin because usually a sugar skull has some sort of print on the forehead and the chin. So I'm bringing that kind of the same pattern on the chin. And then I have these this cluster of two or three rhinestones, so I'm just figuring out where I want that to go. And I think I'm going to go with that, just kind of on the temples. Because I feel like the look needs some sparkle closer to the hairline. It's starting to look bottom heavy, so just adding some there. And then, yeah, maybe just mirror the chin, so I'm using that last piece of that kind of petaled look at the top to just kind of balance the whole look together. So now I just kind of want to reinforce those pink areas, make sure that they didn't get lost with all the application. So just adding some pigment there. Yeah, I love this. This is so cool. So now we are going to move to finalize this look. So I don't know, I wanted to do some lashes. I know skulls don't really have lashes, but I don't know what makeup look is complete without some dramatic lashes. So these are the lashes I used for Sally. They're just really out there and big, and I would never use these on a regular day, but why not today? I think another one would be really cool is some lashes that maybe have some diamonds on them, but I don't know, that might kill the depth of the eye socket. So we're just using these really dramatic lashes and some really strong lash glue, and I'm applying lashes for you guys. So when I do my my lashes with this product, I apply the glue where I would do a winged liner from the front, from like all over the lid on in that close to the lash line. And then I apply the glue to the lash itself, and I wait a couple seconds, and then I grab the center part of the lash and I line that with the center of my eye. So that's where I'm going to first bring it to contact. And then before finalizing anything, I press down on the outer edge of the lash and then the inner part of the lash. And that kind of just gives me a pretty good general placement for myself and how I apply my lashes. So now we're using Patrick Ta Banta Size Mascara. It's so dramatic, which is perfect for what we're doing. And I'm just wiggling and tugging into the lash line to just add some extra darkness into the waterline. Alright, so now we need to focus on getting rid of the pigment from, like, covering the ears and the neck. So I went with a turtleneck because it would be the least amount of body paint. It is kind of a hassle to do body paint. So if you have a cool turtleneck that has has bones on it, would be perfect for this look. I don't, so I found this glittery turtleneck since I'm doing a glittery diamondy look. So that's just gonna cover the body, and I'm taking pink pigment and black pigments and just really layering up that area to complete this look. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Remember to subscribe